Hey everybody, welcome to Our Favorite Frontier, the only Star Trek podcast that's hosted by me, your host, Alex Russo, as well as...
Nick Caladona.
Yeah, it's us, talking about Star Trek The Next Generation. And this is Season 1 of Star Trek, The Naked Now.
Captain's log, stardate 41209.2. We are running at warp 7 to rendezvous with the science vessel SS Tsiolkovsky, which has been routinely monitoring the collapse of a red supergiant star into a white dwarf. What has brought us here is a series of strange messages indicating something has gone wrong aboard the research vessel.
Nick.
Yes.
What did you think of The Naked Now?
I thought the episode had some promise until I realized that it was a complete cop-out and a pretty much glorified ripoff of an episode from Star Trek, the original series, Season 1.
That is the correct opinion to have.
I thought in this episode, in comparison to the first one, that the chemistry was a lot better between the actors.
You're saying the chemistry this episode as opposed to the last episode of Star Trek, not the first episode of the first Naked Time one.
No, I'm talking about the previous episode that we reviewed.
Okay, gotcha.
As in the pilot episode of TNG.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely there was a lot better chemistry with the characters. And I did think the episode was good, but unfortunately, I cannot say it was a very original, thoughtful episode.
Well, you are being a little bit more charitable than I'm going to be, in that I don't think the episode is very good at all.
I thought it was comical.
Well, there's some unintentional comedy that certainly comes in this episode, I think we can agree on. I think everyone gets a laugh when they hear Data say that he's fully functional.
I loved it.
Nick, he's fully functional.
Fully functional.
And he says it to
as in his
drunk
penis.
as his robo-penis. Why know what's weird?
Go robo-penis.
So you want to know what's weird? I'm just thinking about this right now.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know this yet, but Data is a robot that was made by, his name is Dr. Soong, and he's also played by Brent Spiner. Basically, the doctor made Data in his image.
Okay.
And so, I just have this mental image of, him now. He's like, I'm going to program the sex drive now. And he's making him in his image. He's got to, look down his pants and,
They, do the model.
Yeah, and is he, did he... Now, is Data very well endowed because Soong had some low self-esteem? I don't know.
That could be the. Now I'm thinking also he is an android, so
yeah.
His sex drive is a legitimate hard drive. Alex, I've known you for I don't know how long, since elementary school. I have never heard you laugh so hard in my life.
Oh my god, that was perfect. Sorry. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I think when this doctor obviously, as much as if you made a robot for yourself, Alex, I know that you would definitely take some liberties in it. You would probably make him smarter than you. You would probably make him, probably well endowed and give his sex drive something to really be talked about.
I mean, in general, obviously, you would make your robot a better version than you.
Yeah.
Because it's a robot and you're trying to make a more perfect human. But it's just, I just have this, it's just funny to think about that, the details that went into Data, he had to think about that.
I mean, I definitely would want a robot myself to be a better performer than myself. But again, I might also want it to be, obviously, top dog. I probably would want to make him probably less because I want to still be superior over my created being.
Yeah. These are...
Yeah.
So back to the episode.
No, honestly, I think that's the best part of the episode.
Yeah, it's all downhill from
We're going to end this right here.
I just want to make one last joke about that scene, which is it's weird how, the characters are all acting drunk and acting very disheveled. and Tasha Yar takes the time to plaster down this little Elvis curl onto her forehead. I think that's kind of weird.
That I believe that was a there's something about Mary reference, or maybe she was hanging out with someone else before.
Fair point. So let's take it back now.
Yes.
Here's a complaint about this episode that I know I'm not the first one to have this complaint, but it's a valid complaint, so I'm going to voice it regardless. I'm going to ask you, were these characters acting strangely to you? And I don't mean are they just acting weird, but were they acting out of character?
Now it's kind of a funny thing to describe, because as I said from the first episode, I don't know the characters.
That's true.
You don't get a good grasp of who they are. So to do an episode like this, and I probably condemn the original Star Trek for doing the same sort of episode in season 1, we don't know these characters enough, and especially in this series, to give me a intoxicated view of them in comparison to who they actually are.
Exactly.
Also, I find it funny that intoxication in this sense, in this episode, in comparison to the other one, is basically all sex-driven.
Yeah, it's a lot more hedonistic.
But I think that's definitely the contrast between the 60s and the 80s. But also poor writing and not being able to think of other intoxications. Because honestly, when I get buzzed or have, intoxicated through alcohol, I'm not just a horny bastard.
That is true.
So I feel like they could have...
You can see how we act when we're drunk on our Mario Party 2 Let's Play.
Absolutely. As we just started drinking in the third quadrant of that series. It's a fun time.
Yes. But anyway, so yeah, that's exactly the complaint that a lot of people have, might have as well, is that they say that, hey, these characters are acting like a more exaggerated version of themselves, but we're not really familiar with these characters yet. At least in the original series, we knew that Spock, was half Vulcan, hid his emotions, blah blah blah. We knew that Bones was an irascible doctor who liked to rah 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 and liked to make quips. We knew that Kirk was, we knew the characters a little bit more because we were maybe 7 or 8 episodes into the season. But for the second episode, that's real early to give us an out of character for the Enterprise.
Yeah, because it's just you don't know, and then the kid just being a dingus, like I'm assuming he's going to do every episode. And I honestly don't want it to be, the ship has an issue, Picard needs to solve something, but then freaking, whatever the hell his name is, Wesley, right?
Yeah.
If he just ruins everything. Like, I definitely don't want the kid is butting in and ruining thing dynamic. Is that what I'm in store for?
I have some very bad news
for you. No, that's what the show
Not
is.
every episode. Not every episode.
Oh,
but it happens
such a cop-out.
It happens a lot in the first season.
It's such a cop-out.
And the thing that irks me more than anything else is at the end of this episode, Riker and Picard are walking around saying, well, Wesley did sort of save the day. It's fair that we give him credit in our report to Starfleet. You know what? I think a lot of the problems was his fault, too.
I also think Data saved the day.
Data saved the day. Everyone did lots of their part, but none of the ship losing control issues would have happened if it wasn't for Wesley going down to engineering and using his little stupid tractor beam toy to lock everyone out and turn control over to himself. That was the biggest problem, because they couldn't, when they were all sober, I guess, they could have at least flown out of the way of the giant sun collapsed into meteor or whatever. They could have at least gotten out of the way and had time to deal with it. But it came down to a race against the clock because they couldn't control the ship because Wesley had basically hacked into it. And, he saved it. Wesley fixed it, but Wesley messed it up. It was his fault.
Yeah, it's that's like a supervillain's main plan. Like a majority of things, I'm going to ruin these things. And then I'm going to save the day, but you can't stop me.
And Wesley seems to get by because everyone's like, that little rascal.
But like he really almost killed everybody because he is an arrogant kid. My question is, why did he has that recording of Picard saying he's handing over all the power? And I know everyone was intoxicated, but who honestly is going to believe that? And why can't Picard take that action over? Who's like, yeah, this kid's going to totally outrank our captain, even if he said that regardless. I think at any time Picard to be like, nah, I'm good. I want that back.
I believe that's the ship's control thing. If the ship, it's a safety precaution basically, where if the captain does turn over control, he can't take it back without permission from other people.
Yes, but I just find Picard very sexually frustrated when he's trying to, when Wesley's mom is trying to bang him.
Yeah, that was I forgot about that part. And it's been a while since I've had the touch of a woman, and she unzips the front of her shirt. Like, Jesus Christ. Chill, Beverly. Yeah, so this episode is kind of just... It's frustrating because you mentioned comical. And I felt a lot that they were trying to make... do jokes and sight gags, etc., that would have worked in the 60s, but felt out of place here. Just the way Data comically stumbles in and falls over. Some of their quips, it felt like they were trying to recreate that 60s innocence a little too much. And it just didn't land for me. It felt sad.
I wouldn't necessarily say the episode was good. I definitely found it entertaining. Honestly, I don't know these characters, so I don't know what I'm in for. Maybe, when we're 100 episodes into this, I can go back to the episode and, definitely have a lot more opinion. But honestly, it just felt like a run-of-the-mill episode, just kind of like the original kind of just like situation. This is what it is. At least they kind of got that vibe, but it was a complete cop-out.
Yeah, I would say that run-of-the-mill is even generous.
Really? Again, I don't know what I'm in for.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm in a unique position, I guess, where I saw this episode before the Naked Time, because I watched TNG first, and then I went back in my college years to find the old ones. But I can only imagine that if you were a diehard Star Trek fan, you grew up watching reruns of the original series, and you finally get word that the show's coming back, and you see this pilot, and the pilot's not very good, and you say, well, it was the pilot. Pilots are often shaky, now we know the characters. The next episode will be better, and the very next episode is a rehash of an original episode. I can't even imagine the frustration that as a Star Trek fan you would be feeling. It's disappointing, bordering on terrible.
But it's the same Gene Roddenberry is still behind this.
Yeah, and that's
what really that irks me, to use the word you use so commonly. This man, he created Star Trek, but he doesn't have an original idea for his new show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his thought process was. If he just said, I want to make a sequel, and he just didn't know how to do a sequel. I don't know if it was like an ego thing, and he wanted to say, see, I'm right. You should have canceled Star Trek, and just that he was full of his own self nostalgia, almost, for lack of a better term. I don't know what his thought process was for making this episode, and I'm scanning through the production notes on Wikipedia, but obviously it's not going to tell us what was going on with Gene Roddenberry's ego.
And he is passed on.
Yes.
Okay, so we can't ask him.
Rick Berman said it was an homage, not a copy. But
that's not an homage. I've seen a good homage in my day, and that is not it.
So, all around a disappointing episode.
Again, I don't think I found it as disappointing as you. It's definitely not to the potential I was hoping. Mm-hmm. I guess disappointing sounds very harsh, but you know what? Honestly, it's the only word I could use to describe it. So I guess you're right.
Yep. So, have any other closing points you want to say?
I don't have many other closing points. I'm very excited to get into on the third episode. So, yeah, I'll try to get on that.
Yep.
And then we could definitely get one more episode in here, and off we go to the infinite frontier.
That's true. The next week, we're coming at you with our review of Code of Honor, which is actually technically the fourth episode because Farpoint counted as 1 and 2. But that'll be it for this week. If you guys enjoyed, definitely leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff is much appreciated. And we will see you next time.
Our Favorite Frontier is hosted by Alex Russo and Nick Caladona, edited by Alex Russo and produced by Nerdy Inc. Be sure to follow us on YouTube to catch all of our videos, as well as like us on Facebook, Twitter, and whatever other social media we have.